Welcome back, G-Traders. Today, American stock markets are shut on a Thanksgiving Day. Currency markets are trading sluggishly. Economic reports released yesterday were mixed and they confused market participants. Eventually, the balance of trading forces came to equilibrium and adjusted the forex rate of the US dollar. Wall Street indexes resumed the rally of November yesterday before Thanksgiving Day. As a result, the S&P 500 gained 0.4%. The index has advanced by almost 8% this month. Historically, the S&P 500 finishes the week with a Thanksgiving Day in the green. Interestingly, the index retains the bullish momentum later on. The range of 4,535 points to 4,565 confirmed this tradition. Afterwards, the S&P, viewed as a barometer of the stock market's health, entered a consolidation stage at around 4,555 before the shorter trading session on a Friday. The catalyst for growth in the stock market were some economic reports which revealed signs of a slowdown in the US economy and disinflation. For instance, the number of new durable goods orders tumbled by 4.5% in October. The slump was much worse than the forecast and also negated a solid 4% increase in September. The sharpest losses were recorded in orders for transport equipment. Moreover, consumer sentiment worsened in the United States. According to the survey by the University of Michigan, the corresponding index slipped to 61.3 points in November, whereas analysts had projected a steeper fall to 60.5 points. Despite the higher-than-expected reading, the index has been declining for 4 months straight. The score in November is the lowest one since May 2023. In a separate report, U.S. initial unemployment claims dropped lower than expected. Oddly, the U.S. labor market remains on a sound footing while the domestic economy is losing momentum. So, the optimistic sentiment on Wall Street is overshadowed by doubts. The Federal Reserve has warned a few times that it's not ready to soften its hawkish policy in the near future. Today, the FEDWATCH tool indicates roughly a 5% chance of another rate hike at the Fed's policy meeting on December 13. Earlier, the market consensus for policy decisions suggested a 100% likelihood of a pause both in December and January. To sum up, following a robust economic growth in the third quarter, the US economy cooled down at the end of the autumn. At the same time, the number of jobless Americans also declined. The survey of the University of Michigan signaled that consumers braced for inflation acceleration. Curiously, there are fundamentals in a parallel for the US dollar's reinforcement and its weakness. For this reason, the US dollar index is trading with high volatility. On the whole, the greenback lost some steam. It's trading with a downward bias inside the intraday corridor between 103.5 and 103.90. Perhaps the greenback growth overnight came as a result of a profit taken on the eve of a Thanksgiving Day. Despite its softness, the US dollar is held in the upper hand over its Canadian counterpart. Besides, the loonie is wound down by falling oil prices. The USD CAD pair tried to hold its 3-day bullish sequence and dipped to 1.3660. However, the downward impulse did not last for long. The bulls entered the market, so the USD CAD pair reversed upward, trading inside the intraday corridor between 1.3651 and 1.3712. The flagship crypto is trading without a clear-cut trajectory, following yesterday's rally to $37,800. Bitcoin entered a consolidation stage. Since early Thursday, the token has been trading in a narrow corridor between support at 37,220 and resistance at 37,644. After the verdict against the Binance CEO of money laundering and violation of sanctions, Bitcoin tested the bottom of 35,880. And the main catalyst for Bitcoin growth is still valid as the market is anticipating the launch of the first Bitcoin spot ETF. By the way, due to increased spam amid interest in the Ordinals protocol, commissions on the Bitcoin blockchain network have perked up dramatically. However, the incident that occurred today during one of the transactions is still considered by members of the crypto community to be a mistake. The fact is that a transaction of 139 Bitcoin tokens cost the user $3.1 million, and the sum actually amounted to almost half of the entire transaction, 83.7 coins. Interestingly, the penalty imposed on Changpeng Zhao and his crypto platform Binance by the US regulators equals $4.3 billion. The Treasury Department acknowledged it to be one of the heaviest fines in the US history. Our regular market review is over. Keep close tabs on the market developments on the InstaForex TV channel. Our team appreciates your comments and questions. See you online tomorrow.